Well, you ready to answer some questions about the teacher training?
Absolutely. Let's do
Cool.
it.
Let's do it. So welcome, folks. What we're going to be doing today is just doing some Q&A with Lee about the Holden Qigong Teacher Certification Program, which is on sale for $500 off until I believe Wednesday or so. So if you have questions about the teacher training, this is a great place to get them answered. We're going to be focusing mostly on the content inside of the teacher training and like how would you structure it for your unique situation and that those types of questions. What we're not going to be doing are answering types of questions like what should I do for X, Y, or Z condition or thing that I have or my friend has or anything like that. So just a note on the types of questions that we're focused on today. We will be doing the video class subscription Q&A later. You can bring those questions over to the Q&As on the video class subscription. Otherwise, we will probably, I think, because we're only doing Q&A today, we'll probably do a mix of written questions and video questions, but we're going to start with written questions. So if you have a question, you can type it here into the Zoom chat and I'll be feeding them over to Lee so he can answer. Usually I'll try to get to as many people as possible and the written questions are a little bit faster than doing the video ones, but because we're only doing the Q&A today, we'll probably do a little bit of both. So uh, Lee, just waiting for some questions to come in and then I'll
Okay.
start feeding them to you. So usually
Fantastic.
though, I know one of the questions we get pretty often is when should someone even consider doing the teacher certification program?
Hmm. Yeah, that's always a great question. It's a little bit individualized for that answer, depending on your practice. Like, are you already a yoga teacher? Are you a psychologist, a meditation instructor? Folks like that often have a little bit more experience teaching or instructing or working with people. And sometimes you could fast track it a bit. Also motivation level. Some people just feel really called to do the teacher training. Like I really want to dive in and have some time and some spaciousness to really get into this work at the moment. Usually I like people to have 6 months of Qigong practice at least, of doing video class subscription or some workshops, their own practice. That really helps to just set a foundation so that there's more understanding of what I'm talking about. But the beautiful thing about our program is that it's self-paced, so you can go nice and slow with it. It's a wonderful way to dive deep into your own practice. A lot of people do the teacher training just for themselves to get a deep dive into the practice and really learn it on another level. Because when you do a teacher training, you're really understanding the material in a much deeper and richer way. So yeah, but just a kind of a simple one, like 6 months to a year of some kind of experience and practice. I think that's always a good baseline.
Cool. Thanks, Lee. And I did there was a question about if the course if it can be completed on your own time. And I think you kind of included that in your answer that
Yeah.
it's self-paced. So I think the fastest person that ever completed all of the requirements to get their certification was Drawer, and it took him 6 to 8 months. I'm not remembering the exact time, but he did it really, really fast. But then I think some people go through at their own pace and they get certified in 2 to 3 years. And then not everyone even wants to get certified. So it is definitely go at your own pace and very much self-paced. So you can, if you're working, doing a full-time job or doing something else, you can do a lesson here, a lesson there.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So do
Yeah.
you have anything to add to that, Lee?
Yeah, and I think that is nice. The self-paced, aspect of this training really allows you to take it at your own pace. That's the good news. Also, I guess the bad news is that it's self-paced and sometimes we don't have enough motivation. So what we do is a Q&A once a month where all the teachers get on a call just like this and I answer questions and help people with motivation. There's a Facebook group where you can get support and, almost do the practice and the training with a buddy or a group. People have done that. There's wonderful classes through our master classes, which is myself and our senior teachers teaching classes on various topics. That happens once a month, and there's a whole archive of wonderful classes, whether it's on how to structure your Qigong business or different aspects of Qigong practice. A lot of our teachers have some expertise in other styles of Qigong, Tai Chi, Bagua, different, different Qigong styles have come up, like fragrance Qigong that John Platt has taught. So you get a wide variety of knowledge, and we have some great support with like Jenny as our teacher training liaison, and she answers questions all the time. You can have one-on-ones with her. So it's a beautiful, well curated course that we've been doing for many years and have figured out how to help people get the most out of it.
Totally. Which brings me to another very common question we get is a lot of the times I think Qigong stuff and the Qigong instruction is done, at least on the teacher side, in an in-person format. This is online. What do you feel
Yep.
like are the drawbacks and or benefits of doing it online versus in
Yeah.
person?
Yeah, I mean, it's always wonderful to get together in person and do the training. We just did an in-person training. So this tier one, 250 hours is online. And tier two, we have a 500-hour program with some more online courses and then a live in-person retreat. We just did that live in-person retreat. And it was wonderful for everybody to be together, for us to all teach together. There's another level of energy that happens when we all come together. The nice thing about online is it can be self-paced, and when it's live, I give a lecture and people are taking notes. But if you don't capture it or you don't remember it, you didn't write it down correctly, it's gone. And online, you can go back and review it. And people love to go back and review this training because it's got a lot to it. So if you did it, some people will go back and do it every year and review it. And so when you do it this year and when you review it next year, you get something different out of it because you're a different person and you hear things new when you review it. So it's wonderful that you just have the content at your fingertips whenever you want it, whether it's a lecture or a physical practice. Let's say you're going to go teach a class and you're like, okay, what was that move again? You just come right back and find it and be able to review it. So I love that aspect of it. And then that's why we did in the 500-hour a live training component so that people on that next level really get one-on-one training, get hands-on. I have people teach in small groups and give them feedback and things like that.
That's great. Thanks, Lee.
Yeah.
All right. We have Susan Connor is asking, or yeah, she has a background in nursing, medical exercise, nutrition, and she teaches Pilates. I was
Mm.
wondering if this is the right path or is better off taking all of the other courses. I'm assuming other courses like the Buddha Palm or things like that. What do you
Right.
think?
Man, I think it is a great training with all your background. And knowledge. I think you would love it. I mean, the five elements, like it is beginner. It starts off very basic and beginner, but what I love about the five elements and three treasures, it seems to connect and address all aspects of ourselves. Like the five element training, which is the first 8 weeks of the program. We get five elements. You get Chinese medicine theory. You get five element flows. You get this whole set of movements. It's not overwhelming because it's just five flows with five standing postures. You get the five colors and sounds that go to each of these organs. It has a lot to do with mental, emotional work. So it's physical in terms of the movement, but we go really deep into kind of the psychology of Qigong and working on our mental, emotional energy. And then the three treasures kind of works more into our spiritual connection to the divine, our own inner spirit, our like really addresses the question of who we are and why we're here. And so first aspect is really about our health and wellness and vitality and the medicine. And the second aspect is like power and purpose and passion, which is the three qualities of these three treasures. So I love it because it addresses the aspect of who we are and why we're here in a deeper, more meaningful way than just a Qigong practice. So if that's kind of something you're looking for, I think that it's a great training to really dive deep into that. For some people, they just want to go like into one aspect, like Chen was saying, oh, I really want to just do Buddha palm or iron shirt and just get one aspect of the Qigong. And this kind of gives you a really broad umbrella of the practice, and not just the physical practice and the energetics, but also the mental, emotional, and the spiritual.
Awesome. Thanks, Lee. And that was a good answer. Uh, Carol asked earlier if we could discuss the specific content in the course. And so Lee's answer that he just gave is essentially the answer to what content is inside of the
Mm-hmm.
course. The teacher certification program is a bundle of courses, the main two being the 5 elements and the 3 treasures. So you can potentially get those separately, but you don't get all of the stuff to get certified. So the 5 elements and 3 treasures really form the foundation of a lot of the systems that a lot of the other courses are built on. So if you're wanting to understand how a lot of the traditional Chinese medical systems, including Qigong, work and how it's all set up and all of the foundational theory and understanding, these courses that are included in the teacher certification program are the ones that you want to be going through to really get that foundational level knowledge and understanding. And then as part of the certification program, you get all of the extra master classes, Q&As with Lee, and one-on-ones with senior instructors, and I think the office hours with Jenny, who's done a lot of the program, has been doing Qigong. I think she went to school with Lee. So you get a lot of extra support as going through the certification program as to just doing the courses by themselves. I think we have over 80 master classes the last time I counted them, which was over a year ago, and we do at least 1 or 2 a month. And they're constantly added in, and you can access the whole library of all of those master classes. And we just keep doing those. So as long as after you enroll in the certification program, you just have lifetime access to all of the material and all of the ongoing stuff that we keep adding into it. So you could get certified, and in 2 years after your certification, if you've never come to a Q&A, if you run into a problem, you can come back and join a Q&A with Lee and hop back on and ask a question. For example, what do I do about this student, or what can I do for this situation? So we try and make it as easy and as effortless as possible, and there's no additional costs or anything that you need. The price for the certification program is the price for the entire program, and it includes everything you need to complete your certification. So there's no additional things that you need to purchase afterward to finish it. So Lee, then someone was asking earlier if the course is suitable for them because they have a little bit of a visual impairment, and they're wondering about how written the whole certification program is.
Mm.
And say they've been practicing for 6 months, so they'd be doing it for themselves, but
Mm-hmm.
wondering about that. What do you think?
Yeah, and it's mostly visual. I mean, most of it is me talking to the camera and me teaching and guiding a practice of Qigong. And then there's some audio meditations, both me on video leading people through a visualization and meditation. And then there's some also a little bit of audio additional bonus features. Included, we also included some of the beautiful nature programs, the Qigong outside in nature. Um, that's in the course somewhere along the lines. And so there is some written stuff there, but it's like I would say like 5%.
Great. And I think there's some journaling prompts where you could
We have some
potentially just
journaling
do
prompts, yeah.
like, you could do voice recordings on your phone instead of writing if you don't like writing. I think they're mostly designed to get you into thinking through and processing the content from the videos. So as long as
Yeah.
you can listen or hear what's going on and see what's going on in the videos, you should be okay. If you've been practicing for 6 months, I think you'll be totally fine going through things. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, perfect, Chen.
And let's see, someone asking if it can be completed on their own time. Yes, can be completed on your own time. Jennifer is asking if there's mentorship and support for how to create a business out of teaching. She says, I'm interested in Qigong for transformational travel, Qigong coaching, and this is all new to me as a business. I would like to understand it as a business and get
Mhm.
support for setting it up.
Yeah. Yeah, and we do that as well. I mean, especially in tier two, we talked a lot about the business of teaching Qigong and how to do it and how to address it. This tier one, I would say the main emphasis is for you to get comfortable, strong with the material, to get you teaching to your friends and your family. We do some feedback where you videotape yourself filming. We give you feedback. We also have some one-on-ones where you're um, getting on Zoom with an instructor, talking through the material, going over movements, if you have any questions, and really making sure that you are a skilled Qigong teacher. So that's the level one. There are some master classes on the business aspect of it. I know Jenny and I answer business questions when we come onto the Q&A. And so there is an aspect of this on how to run the business. We've learned a lot about the business. People have been very creative on what they're doing with their Qigong. People are teaching in yoga studios, fitness clubs. Those are really easy, kind of low-hanging fruit, just working with a local yoga studio, rec center, fitness club, and teaching classes. That's really easy. People are also doing corporate wellness, stress management, rest and recharge type of things for corporations. And then we get more creative folks doing stuff in the hospitals for mental health, for kids, for senior centers. I mean, I think those are all really great places to bring this work. And so lots of options. Qigong is on the rise. It's kind of where yoga was maybe like 15 years ago. So I think there's many areas where we could bring this work and have it be well received. We know that it works, and so that we just keep getting it out there in multiple ways and seeing how people respond to it. And it's been just inspiring. It's been a beautiful journey because we've seen thousands and thousands of case studies of this practice working so very well. And our teachers have been out there for now many years doing the work, and it's working for them and their students. So the great news is that it works, and it works really well. And we're just figuring out how to bring the education so people understand what Qigong is and how they can use it in their own lives. But long answer short is yes, we will help support you to bring it into the world in the best way possible.
That's great. Thanks, Lee. Uh, Anne is asking if this initial class is enough to teach. I think the short answer to that is no. You probably want to be going through some more of the material before you start teaching. But how quickly, Lee, do you think someone could start teaching after they begin the program? Do they like
Right. I
start
mean, I think
sharing some with their friends?
yeah, start sharing with your friends and families soon. I think after maybe a couple of weeks. I think sharing it's part of this journey where you can say, hey kids, let me show you what I've been learning with Lee, and here's knocking on the door of life. Just start sharing with your family, your spouse, your friends, your parents. All of that is wonderful. But I think give it a couple of 2 or 3 weeks of getting into the training, and then start sharing some of the movements and some of the theory. The more you talk about it, the more you're engaging with the material, the faster you learn it.
Okay. Thanks, Lee. And Sudakini is asking if the master classes are always at the same time of day because they live in the UK. And I believe that a lot of the masterclass times are staggered. Jenny might be able to answer that in the chat about the timing of those specifically. But those are the master classes. I believe we stagger the timing when they're taught live, but then the recordings of them are published relatively quickly after they're taught. So you can go watch the replay, and then after it's published, you have lifetime access and you can go watch it as many times as you want. So you don't necessarily have to participate in any of the live things, if there's live Q&As or live master classes, you don't have to do those live to actually finish the certification program. Those are kind of the extra material, the extra things that are added on top of the base content. The base content is really those the 5 elements and 3 treasures material that you're going through at your own pace. And yes, Deborah, it is 100% lifetime access. So once you enroll, you can go through it as many times as you want. You can restart it as many times as you want. You can take as long as you want to go through it. So it is very much self-paced. Donato, you are wondering also if you're required to attend anything live, or you can access it when it works best for you. You can access it when it works best for you. And then Kit, you were also wondering if there's a live component like practice parties, similar to what we do with the cohort. We don't have anything like that for the teacher training right now, maybe sometime in the future, but we don't have any plans for it at the moment. Okay, and Colleen asked earlier if the teacher certification also includes weekly Qigong with Lee. It does not. So if you're in the subscription, probably usually the common question is, should I do my subscription and the teacher certification program? And oftentimes the best answer is kind of how much time do you have and how much time do you want to dedicate to doing Qigong? We recommend that if you're pursuing the certification fully, to focus on the routines inside of the certification program, because the routines there correlate to all of the material you're learning. So Lee will do a lecture about the 5 elements, for example, and then he'll teach a routine that correlates with the lecture. And that's the kind of stuff that you're doing in the certification program. And then if you have additional time and you'd like to do additional practice, then you could do those subscription classes. But if you kind of only have if you have limited time, I'd stop the subscription and focus on the teacher training, the teacher certification entirely. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Lee.
Yeah, that's good, Chen. I mean, I think we want people to really get comfortable with the material and the teacher training and kind of work through the lectures, meditations, Qigong workouts there. Some people love the variety of doing that plus the subscription and just seeing how I'm teaching and understanding the verbiage. And, if you're doing, 3 workouts in the teacher training a week and 2 or 3 subscription classes a week, that works out great. But like Chen said, sometimes it's a timing thing. And if you have, an hour a day to work on your Qigong practice, then you could probably do both and get a lot of benefit. And if it's, 3 hours a week, then focus in on the teacher training.
Great. Thanks, Lee. And yeah, Jennifer was asking earlier if the $500 discount applies to the payment plans as well. It does. And the $500 is already deducted from the price of the payment plan. And if you pay in full when you go to checkout, so that you don't have to enter a coupon code or anything. It's already discounted. And there are payment plans. So the normal price is $3,997. It's currently discounted $500 to $3,497. And then there's a 3-month payment plan and a 12-month payment plan. I don't remember the monthly installments off the top of my head, but if you go through to the link that Sean will post in the chat in a second, you can see it all on that page. And then Mr. Lee Holden, if someone studied Qigong from another teacher, they studied another style that covers similar elements, can they jump ahead and go into the tier 2 training?
If they've already done a teacher training with somebody else, could they do a tier 2? That's an interesting one. I still would recommend doing the tier 1 this year because it's probably going to be quite a bit different unless it is, unless it is one of my teachers teaching a teacher training. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty different because my style of teaching incorporates the Eastern tradition, Western science and medicine. I kind of combine a lot of things. The way I teach it is going to be really unique because of my background with my psychology training and my Chinese medicine degree. So it's different than just Qigong teacher training because of my background. So I would recommend doing this way, and maybe you could have a chat with Jenny and see what you've already studied. But I'm guessing, and I think for the most part, the answer to this question is first do this training, and then come into the tier two.
Right. Yeah. The difficult thing about like essentially it's transferring credits is sort of how I'm thinking about it. Is the
Mm-hmm.
difficult thing is we don't know what another teacher has taught and how they've taught. So
Mm-hmm.
if what we're doing is certifying in a very specific form, which is the Holden Qigong certification, not just a general Qigong certification, which why it makes it a little bit difficult. And I don't think that we would do that.
Mm-hmm.
Is we're really focused on certifying you in Holden Qigong style of Qigong, which is very specific to what Lee's created, as opposed to just like
Yeah.
general yoga certification.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Maybe that's not the best carryover example, but the
Yeah.
key takeaway is Lee's created a very specific style that is we've found much more accessible to people in the Western world, as opposed to a very oftentimes stricter styles, I think, that are taught in the East. But I don't know if that expands or you want to add anything to that, Lee.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's exactly right. This is a particular method and a methodology that I've crafted by studying with probably over 50 different Qigong masters and then really focusing in on how would this translate to people in the Western world? How can we really speak a language that's understandable to Westerners and give them benefits, reasons why, and really be knowledgeable both in the Eastern energetic sciences as well as knowledgeable in Western science, especially when it comes to energy work, and be able to speak both of those languages. So kind of that was my um, take on it, because on early days of my training, I was teaching in corporations and fitness clubs and retreats and doing workshops and I did so many trips to Asia studying with these Qigong masters, both in China, Thailand, Japan, Indonesia, and really figuring out, okay, how do I explain this to people in the West? And putting a lot of time and energy into that. Um, and that's why this training is so unique.
Thanks, Lee. And then someone was asking, yeah, Kim is asking, what does the tier one training give us and where do we go once we get certified? So I think, Kim, what you're asking is kind of what can you do after you get certified? Like, what's the point of getting certified? So I'm going to answer that question, which
Mm-hmm.
once you're certified, you will get a graduation or like certification certificate certifying that you've actually completed the course and you've met all of the requirements. You're allowed to call yourself a Holden Qigong certified instructor, Qigong instructor. I believe you might have to add like tier one in there or something, which means you can start earning money and using that title when you're teaching classes. So you could go to a local yoga studio and start offering Qigong classes there and basically be charging money to be creating those classes. You also get a profile inside of our Holden Qigong teacher directory. So when students are looking on our website, holdenqigong.com, for teachers in their local area, they'll be able to find you. You get access to all of the continuing education stuff that we talked about. So there's the master classes, the Q&As with Lee, the Holden Qigong certified teachers Facebook group. You don't have to have Facebook to complete the program, just to participate in that group. So those are the main things that you get from your certification. And then after you're certified, then you can participate or you basically qualify to sign up for tier two. And tier two, I think, like Lee was saying before, is more focused on the workshopping specific techniques and working on building up your business, figuring out what your business is actually going to be, because not everyone likes teaching virtually. You don't have to essentially copy what Lee is doing. and like have a social media profile and do online classes and do that kind of thing. Maybe you just want to do in-person stuff and you just want to teach at the local yoga studios, or maybe you want to do bring it into schools or work with animals. There's a lot of things that people are doing, and so you don't have. That's kind of what tier two is about: is figuring out and niching down into like this is really where I feel like I want to offer this work or bring this work. Um, Lee, is there anything you want to add to that whole answer?
I think you did a great job, Chen. I think that's perfect. Yeah. I mean, I was looking at people's questions in the chat and commenting a little bit, but I think you know, what we try to do with this program is give you a really firm foundation. I mean, it's going to give you a really deep foundation into the principles of Qigong, not just particular styles of Qigong. Yes, we're going to focus on 5 elements and 3 treasures, but you get principle-oriented practice so that when you study or learn Qigong from somebody else, it's really easy to understand what kind of Qigong, what are the principles that they're teaching, and even bring it into your own foundation of training that makes sense and gives you a lot of clarity with your practice and teaching. So, yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Lee. And someone else was asking, what are the requirements for certification? Uh, they are listed out fully in the frequently asked questions section at the bottom of the page that Sean's been linking. The overview is you have to complete all of the content inside of the certification program, which is, I think there's 40 hours for the 5 elements, 40 hours for the 3 treasures online course. There's 58 hours of personal practice that you have to log. You have to log 30 hours of practice teaching to other people, friends, family, like kind of offering free classes, and then do 20 hours of additional study material going through some of the stuff that's included in the program, additional material, anything kind of just do additional Qigong. And then you have 3 one-on-one sessions with senior instructors. These are kind of where you can get specific help and attention on whatever it is that you're working on. Again, this is all included in the program. And finally, you have to record a 15 to 20-minute teaching demonstration video at the end that one of our senior instructors will review. And that's kind of making sure that sort of like our quality check, so to speak, making sure that you're generally getting the flow of the class down, getting the movement descriptions right, that kind of thing. So um, and you can always, I don't think it's extremely strict where you like pass or fail. It's more like a um, that was great and improve on these things kind of thing. So um, anything you want to add to that, Lee?
Sorry, Chan. I was answering questions in the chat
Oh no,
and spaced out. I was a bad student, Chan.
that's okay.
You want to give me a quick?
Well,
Was there something I could comment on?
I don't think so. We're just
You're so
going
good
over the
at speaking to this tiers and whatnot. Yeah, I think we've designed the program to make it really easy for people to progress and get certified so that you start teaching. And I think once people start teaching, you get so much improvement in your own personal practice, whether it's just one-on-one, friends and family, you just, you know, get so much more depth in it. And that's what we want. We want people to get really comfortable with the material, get comfortable teaching. That's why we have part of the requirements, you teaching some classes and us giving you feedback. And we want you also to teach, I think it's 30 hours, like you said, right, Chen, to before you get
yeah.
certified, because then you're really comfortable teaching. When you teach something, you develop such a deeper, richer knowledge around it. And then, the next step is the tier 2, which will just take your practice deeper. And we really get more into helping people create the business of their dreams. Because, everybody, all my friends and family and colleagues are always like, gosh, I wish I had your job, Lee. I mean, I get to travel all over the world. I get to teach people how to help heal themselves. Everybody's always thanking me for their practices. And that's, early days, that's what I was like, gosh, I really want to create a program where people could do this more and we could spread the information about Qigong because it works so well in a society that is so externally focused and where the medicine has so many side effects and there's not a focus on health and prevention. And so it was just sparked from this deep passion to bring some alternative empowerment and medicine to people's lives and to really see how that worked. You know, when I first was on public television and my programs went all over the country nationwide, we got so much feedback on how this worked for people. That was in like 2006, 2007. So we've gotten so much feedback, and that feedback has what's crafted this teacher training program.
That's great. Thanks, Lee. Okay, now we're getting a lot of questions about tier two. So let's talk about tier two quick.
Yeah, let's talk about tier two.
Tier two certification is a combination of, you have to do some additional courses and then some log additional practice hours, but it's much more about doing more Qigong and evolving your practice. And then there's an in-person portion of that. It is we try to keep the in-person portion as low cost as possible. We just did one in Santa Cruz. It's about a week long, so five full days. Again, we try to keep the cost of that as low as possible to make it as easy as possible to do. We will not be doing that one online and don't have any plans to do it online because with everything being virtual for you up until that point, we specifically made the choice to keep it in person so that you get the experience of practicing with an experienced group. And there's something very, very special and unique that happens when you're in person over an extended period of time with a group that has been practicing for a long time as well, that you can't quite get in the same way doing it all online. So it's very, very important to us that everyone that's going through that tier two level gets that experience. So that one we will not, there will always be an in-person element to the tier two certification. And because we're making that a requirement and it's potentially harder for people to get to the in-person thing because everyone's around the world, we do try and make it as accessible as possible and basically just put it on to cover our costs. Usually, so when we did the tier two one, I don't want to get too deep into tier two. It was like $1,300 for the entire 5 days, and that was it. So that's all after you complete your tier one certification, though. So there's a quick overview of tier two stuff, and I'm finding another question for you, Lee. Unless you're seeing things in chat that you want to answer. What do you think of this one, Lee? Oh, Lee had to run away. Never mind. So we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to share my screen quick because it looked like Lee ran away and is probably dealing with a sick child, unfortunately. So
Yep.
I'm going to give you a. Oh, you're back.
I'm
Welcome
back.
back.
I was tending
Everything.
to one of the sick babies.
Everything. Everything okay?
Oh, it was it was an all night. It was all night when it was just like one, then the other, then the other. So I was
Oh
just,
no.
you know, teenagers turn into little kids once when they're not feeling well. And it was a really severe stomach bug. So the herbs, the acupressure, and the love has brought them through the other side. But now they're just kind of, whimpering.
No.
Oh, all three at once.
Here. Let's hear it for Hero Dad. Thanks, Lee.
Yeah. It was teamwork.
That's
Yeah.
good. Um, do you have a bit more time to keep answering some
Yeah,
questions?
absolutely. We're
Okay,
good.
just want to check. Oh, Susan is asking if they complete tier one, does that qualify her to teach her own teacher training program?
Mm. It doesn't really Yeah, tier one doesn't give you the ability to teach your own teacher training program. That I think tier two, tier three, we could start talking about that. And we do have a tier three sort of mapped out. We haven't really implemented it. I think you have some individual circumstances that qualify you probably more than most to be a teacher. But I think what we'd want to do is maybe have some one-on-ones with me or Jenny to get you geared up to be able to do something like that and how to work together. So I think there's something to talk about. If that's something you really wanted to do, we could help craft and curate that for you in a way. But tier one doesn't give you that ability to go out then and do your own teacher training.
Great. I think that was actually back when we laid out all of the tiers. It's up in tier 3 or tier 4. There's
Yeah,
a
I think it was
one of those
tier
qualifications.
three, definitely tier four was
So
you teaching Holden Qigong and being able to certify people.
cool.
Yeah.
There we go. Need Hall is asking, once we're trained, are we only able to teach the 5 elements and 3 treasures? What if I know some other type of qigong? Basically, can I integrate that in?
Oh, okay. Say the first part one more time, Chen.
It's so once we complete the certification
Mm.
program, can we only teach 5 elements and 3 treasures?
No,
Can I?
gotcha. You could teach more than that. You could teach more, especially if you've taken some of the other workshops and trainings. Um, and I encourage people at that time to come to my subscription and just see how I'm teaching. And if you're a teacher and you really like some of the movements, you write them down, you practice them, you can integrate movements, other movements that I teach. And if, let's say, you took, the 5 animal frolics, and now you're already a tier one teacher and you've taken the 5 animal frolics and you want to integrate some of that into your classes, great. So you just can keep adding on. At some point, we will have more certifications for the specific styles that I've taught over the last couple of years. Swimming dragon, 5 animal frolics, those kind of things to help people to really get certified in those specific trainings. We haven't done that yet, but that's on our horizon.
Okay, thanks, Lee. And Bronca is asking for those of us that only want to go into the course with and don't have a plan to teach others, what is the benefit of doing the certification program in comparison with the subscription?
Um, if they don't have a plan to teach others, is that what you said, Shen?
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, if you don't have a plan to teach others, this is still a great choice for your own training. You really get deep, rich knowledge, and there's lots of lectures and wisdom and meditations. It's a very diverse practice and program, and I think you would get a really strong foundation for your own practice. A lot of people have gone through the teacher training just for their own knowledge and selves. So
great.
I see a question here that's similar from Suzanne. If my goal is to increase my knowledge, is it better? Oh, just moved. Chen, how do you read this when all new
I got
questions
it.
come in? Is it better
Cool.
to wait for medical qigong, or is this course where there's the most lecture knowledge given? And this course is the course with the most knowledge, lectures, well-rounded practices, and just a deep foundation in your qigong skill set. So I think it's a great course for somebody looking for that, Suzanne.
Great. That was going to be the next one I was going to feed to you. So,
Okay,
oh
well,
no.
I'm almost taking your job for you, Chen.
I know. I'll just hang out in the background. That's great. Um, let's see. Yeah, Cheryl's sharing that she's starting the course again as it's such a good reminder of all of the of everything and it has lots of medical information.
That's great.
So I hope that helps, Susan. Let's see if I can find you another question. Lots of tier 2 questions. I think we answered a lot of those. That one. So Yaya asked earlier, or is saying, I really just want to know enough to have a good understanding of Qigong to be able to lead seniors in our wellness center at a senior housing in the Bay Area. Is tier one enough to start with? I think the short answer is definitely yes. It's perfect. But what would you say, Lee?
Yeah, and I would say the same thing, Chan. Yeah, that is perfect. Yep, that's exactly what this course is geared towards. Going to teaching classes in senior centers. I used to teach at a Jesuit retirement center, and I just saw them improve so much. I did it like a 10-week course a few times, and I was just astounded how after 10 weeks, people were walking instead of being on canes and wheelchairs and walkers. They were actually walking without them because we just got their bodies moving, and going from not moving at all to a movement practice. You just saw such incredible improvement, and for people even sitting in the chairs and doing their ankle circles and their joint mobilizations and their flows, all of a sudden their energy just brightened right up. So I think it's incredibly important in working with Qigong in senior centers. So senior centers, yoga studios, fitness clubs, corporations, you're going to be fine taking this material into those kind of places. I did a lot of work in corporations because, you know, corporate stress is a real big problem, and productivity when people manage their stress goes way up. So companies really like this kind of work in their company if you can explain it, get a foot in the door, do a sample class, brown bag lunch. Those are all the things that I did, and people then would be like, okay, how can we get this here on a regular basis?
Awesome. Thanks, Lee. And then someone else is asking or saying that the course seems wonderful, but I'm not sure if I want to teach yet. Is it still a good thing to do?
Absolutely. I mean, I think just deepening your knowledge, doing the training for yourself, for your own growth and improvement and chi cultivation. There's just nothing better. That this program is so well versed in our own practice, and the foundation of this course is your practice. And then I've had dozens and dozens of students who have done it for themselves, and then some years later are now teaching because they just were like, I'm just, it's organically being shared. People say, "Oh, I got neck and shoulder pain. Oh, here, let me show you a few movements." Oh, that worked, and then they get inspired, and then they start sharing with their friends and their family, and somebody asks them to do a class at the local something or other, and then all of a sudden they're teaching.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely, we've heard a lot of different stories from teachers over the years because we've been offering this certification for almost 10 years now. So we have a lot of different types of people that go through the program, and it is not an uncommon story, or I guess to remove the double negative there, it is a common thing for people to enroll and have no plans to teach whatsoever. And then suddenly, by going through the program, they realize that they actually do want to teach. But again, it's not a requirement. You don't have to want to teach to go through the program. There's definitely a thing that equips you with the certification program equips you with all the kind of foundational knowledge of how traditional Chinese medicine works, how the five element systems work, and how like Lee is building the Qigong routines from the ground up. So you could potentially go through the certification program and then come back to the subscription classes, and you'd start to see all the different building blocks that Lee's putting together into the subscription classes. So if you like that kind of ability to deconstruct how Lee is doing things, or you'd want that ability, this would be the course to go through to get that understanding of like, oh, that's why he's doing this. And you'd be able to kind of start to answer the questions like, is this routine better to do in the morning or the evening? Like, is it more energizing or relaxing? You start to get that foundational understanding to answer those questions yourself and or build your own routines for yourself if that's what you want to be doing. So definitely don't need to have a desire to teach to go through the program.
Mm, yeah.
Uh,
Mm.
Lee, Jennifer is asking, or saying, I have a background in karate. Would this help
Oh,
me with the material in the course?
yeah, absolutely. I find people, martial artists, have a great foundation to Qigong. I mean, Qigong was part of martial arts training, warming up, cultivating energy, developing internal power so that the martial arts was more effective. And so martial artists, whether it's Kung Fu, karate, other martial arts, have a really strong foundation, not only in the physical mechanics because of the horse stances and the strength being built in the legs, but just the philosophy and the application of it. Now, Qigong this particular practice is going to shoot more in the healing arts direction, but martial arts and healing arts are, kind of almost like the front and the back of the coin. So they do go hand in hand, and they learn a lot from each other.
Right. Thank you. I know I do jujitsu, which is not karate, but it's still like martial arts, and I definitely find that doing the qigong gives me a higher sense of my own center, and the jujitsu does something similar. And there's definitely crossover, and I'm using the principles from both, even if the application of the principle is different. Um, Martial versus health in this case. So, uh, Bayat asked earlier if how the certification counts in Germany. Uh, I'm not sure. I think we're offering a certification directly from Holden Qigong, and it's not specifically like a USA certification, I think. So if you're asking more in terms of like insurance coverage and what types of things you'd have to do there, I think you have to do some research into how you would have to set things up in your specific country if it's not in the US. But I don't know if you have anything more to add to that, Lee, but
No, I think it's similar in, this is a worldwide certification, and Qigong is a little bit on the fringe. We don't have like a governing body to help with insurance and whatnot. Usually what people do with insurance wise is just, tell their insurance broker or carrier that they're going to be teaching some classes and what's the best way to get insured. And state by state, country by country, it's a little bit different.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, let's see. So we have Roz asked earlier, or saying, I'm entering my third month of subscription of Qigong, and I love all of the routines to the point of wanting to uh, move forward with this. As
Mm,
a newer practitioner, am I a good candidate, or should I stay on the subscription?
mm. Right. And I think that's a kind of now you're at like a bit of a personal choice, because you could stay with a subscription, do the teacher training, but just do the teacher training a little bit slower. The teacher training is wonderful because you're going to get a lot of lectures, you're going to get a lot of meditations, theory, philosophy, so that when you're doing your subscription classes, you're just going to have a deeper, richer knowledge and even a deeper, richer experience because of the teacher training. So if you wanted to, I would say if you want to stay with subscription, put in about 2 to 3 hours a week on the teacher training, and then also do your subscription. That would be a great way to like slowly work it in, and they will support each other.
Oh, perfect. Thanks, Lee. Then Lynn is asking, they are saying they've been trying to decide between following Tai Chi and Qigong. And can you
Mm.
please help me understand the difference between the two forms?
Yeah. Tai Chi has its foundation in Qigong. So Tai Chi is a style of Qigong that is more martial in the martial arts, but they both all follow the principles of moving from the center, moving with relaxation, being in the flow, cultivating energy. So both systems work with those principles. Now, Qigong is going to be easier, more accessible. You could do it anywhere. There's no memorization. You don't have to learn a sequence of movements. in order to do your practice. So you get to the energetics a lot quicker. You just get right to the energy. I love Tai Chi for the complexity of it because it makes your mind and your body work together in a new way. I always have recommend people start with Qigong and then move into Tai Chi. But often people do it the reverse. They've been training in Tai Chi. Sometimes it's a little bit frustrating because you have to memorize a bunch of movements. You're not feeling as much energy. Then they come to Qigong and they're, oh wow, this is great. When they go back to Tai Chi, they fully get it. So that's my 2 cents on those practices. And have we told people that we're going to be doing a Tai Chi course yet, Chen?
Yeah, we have now. Yeah, we
We
have.
have now. We're going to be doing a Tai Chi course, folks, in end of this month.
Yes, pretty soon. Yeah, we'll announce an open registration pretty soon, but that is not a teacher training on how to teach Tai Chi. It's just going through forms. So if you just want to learn
Mm.
forms, that's the course. If you want to learn more of the teaching side of things, that's what we're talking about here. So
Yeah.
also, if you're still trying to decide between doing Tai Chi as a practice or doing Qigong as a practice and not, do I want to teach Tai Chi or Qigong? You might want to start with just doing some Qigong routines and doing some Tai Chi routines, and probably don't want to jump into this teacher training program right away. So
Mhm.
you can do things like go check out some of the free routines on YouTube that we have. We have a 2 week trial of our subscription. You can sign up for that. Come to some of our classes. We have one later today in just a couple hours, so you can come and do a routine with Lee. Yeah, so if you're not sure if you're just trying to figure out what practice to do, just do some routines first before deciding on this, because this is definitely a teacher program. Unless you just want to go all the way in, no stopping you. Let's find some more questions. And Bronca's asking if we're limited with time when you need to finish tier one. You have unlimited time to finish everything. Um, I would suggest trying to get it done within, I don't know, a year and a half, just so it's not super, super spaced out. But it's like if you chip away at it, you can get through all of the content just doing like 20 minutes a day in like a year and a half. I think I calculated it all out time wise at one point. Um, just so that you're not like going through some of it and then putting it down for like 5 months and then going back and you have to like try and remember where you left off, that kind of thing. It's better to have a little bit of consistency, I think, so you remember. And Sudakini is wondering if the training involves a lot of reading. It does not. It's mostly video, almost entirely video. And Bronca is asking also how many times during the year is the course open? It is always open. The difference between now and other times is now it's $500 off. So that'll be the discount is available, I think, until Wednesday. And then after that, it'll go back up to the normal price and you can still enroll whenever you want. So if it's just not quite the right time, you want to do some more routines or practice for a little bit while longer, you can just wait until you feel like you're ready and then enroll. But it'll be at the normal price, so $500 more than it is right now. Do, do, do. And yeah, Deborah, I think I just answered your question as well about when is the next certification course. It is what we call an evergreen course, so you can enroll and go through it whenever you want to. And so it looks like the questions are slowing down, Lee. So I think what I'm going to do is probably do, let's see, we can do a screen share of what's inside of the certification program. So I can do like a little bit of a visual tour. Sometimes that helps. And that might stimulate some more questions, but I want to check in with you and your timing and the
Yeah.
3 sick kids.
Yeah. Why don't you do that? And
So,
I'll be running around listening in, but I'll keep my screen open so I can come back and check in with you guys one more time. But guys, it's been
all right.
a great set of questions. I love the questions. And I love the Q&A with our teachers. Once you enroll in it, the Q&As get really deep. There's rich questions on personal growth and what life is all about, to how to teach and how to bring this work out into the world. I mean, I've been on this mission for like the last 35 years, just really wholeheartedly wanting people to have this knowledge and these resources available to them. As many of you know, I've been traveling all over the world, teaching in many different countries and places for different organizations, entrepreneur organizations, self-growth, self-improvement, political organizations. I was teaching Qigong in the Middle East to the Minister of Happiness in Dubai and in Jordan and in Turkey. And it's just been, I'm astounded by how many people, doesn't matter what country, what religion, what philosophy, the energy practices work, because we're all in human bodies with energy systems, and a lot of ahas and wows whenever you teach this work. And I just want you to be able to experience some of what I've experienced, and take it in your own direction, to create this big healing effect in the world that needs it so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Lee.
Thanks, Chen.
Cool.
Show them what we
So
got.
we'll do. I'm gonna do a screen share and walk you through the teacher certification program, and sort of just like an overview of what's inside and sort of how it all kind of looks in there, so you have a visual, you can see it. If you're not interested in that, Sean will post the link into the chat so you can go check out the program and enroll. And otherwise, if you need to take off, we'll post the replay probably later today onto YouTube. But I'm going to do the screen share and walk through. And then sounds like Lee is going to stick around for a little bit and might answer some more questions, but I'm going to do the screen share first. So you're going to see some things shift around. Here we go. This is what you see after you log in to the teacher area. Move this chat window around a little bit. So this is sort of like the welcome page after you log in. It has a lot of the information about all of the live things. You can see the next Q&A call with Lee looks like this week at 3:30 Pacific. The Zoom info and all that stuff here. And you can go and check out all of the previous Q&As and stuff over on a different page. And then we have the information about our next masterclass with John Platt. Looks like that's October 21st at 10 a.m. There's all the Zoom info there. And we'll link out to the masterclass page, masterclass recordings page. We'll go look at that in a second. There's the recordings of all the previous masterclasses. There's a lot. We have office hours with Jenny that happen once a week, all the dates and times and the information to attend there. And then we have a calendar link so you can add it all to your calendar and stuff. Join the Facebook group, and just lots of more information about certification requirements and all that stuff. So that's kind of like the welcome page information area. And then all of here on the left are the links to the different modules. So I'm going to go into week 1 instead of start here. And most of the weeks look like this. Most of the content inside the course after you go into them looks like this, where you'll have kind of an introductory video, a little bit of text so you can read, and some longer lectures, video lectures. They're usually around, I think, 20 minutes to an hour, usually on the closer to the hour side, I believe. There's some journal prompts for you to do, some additional lectures. Sometimes they're shorter, maybe 16 minutes like that one. And then you have a Qigong workout that correlates with the lecture and the lecture material before. So what you're doing by going through the program, you're reading the material that's there, just the little bits of paragraphs. You can always zoom in if you have trouble reading it, or copy it into a program, something like that. You watch the lectures, and then you watch the workout, do the journal exercises, that kind of thing. And we'll just scroll through. We got the recordings of the Q&A when this course was taught live. You can watch those. More Qigong workout stuff, more Q&As, meditation stuff, more journaling. Got some introduction to Qigong routines here. These are healing series routines that are included. You get those for free. The teacher training manual, You download that as the PDF, and then there's a quiz after every week to test your knowledge. It's just 10 questions relating to the material that you just went through before you can go on to the next week. So pretty much every single module / week of the course follows the same format. It's lectures in videos and then routines in videos that you watch and then do a quiz to progress through. So as you're going through all of the material, you can participate in the Q&A calls, you can go to the master classes, or you can watch the recordings of previous master classes, and you can go to the office hours with Jenny during the week. Those happen every week. Those are staggered. The times for those are staggered because I know some people in Australia, some people in Europe can't make all of our Pacific times. So we try and do them so you can always make one every other week, depending on where you are in the world. Just take a quick look. The masterclass recordings. We have lots and lots and lots of masterclasses. And you can see information about the upcoming ones. And we have some curated masterclasses here. Because we have so many, we've had to organize them a little bit for you. Otherwise, it's just a giant long list. So we've got some master classes broken out into topics. So there were some questions about doing business stuff. We have our business master classes all linked here. So you can go and check any of these out. Looks like there's more than the 4 or 5 that I thought we had. So there's quite a lot in here. Are there 52 weeks, Leslie? No, there's only, I think it's 16 weeks is how it's broken out. So we looked at the business ones. There's like when you're ready to start teaching, how to actually structure and prep to teach your classes. There's a lot of master classes on that. Sometimes the master class is focused on one specific movement and really breaking down the techniques and instruction around that particular movement. So these looks like there's a lot of that stuff linked in here. And there's a lot of fun master classes. So this, in my opinion, the like certification program is sort of like almost a side benefit of getting access to all of the master classes. Where it's like there's so much good content in here that's insane. So I think that's a pretty good overview. So there's 16 weeks or like 16 modules, I think is how much it's broken out. Yep, 16, and then some next steps directing you on how to get certified. So I hope that helped just to have a bit of a visual and see how it all looks inside of the actual course. So I'm going to stop sharing now, see if there's any other questions. Otherwise, we'll start winding down. And Sean, if you could post the link into the chat again so that people have the link to the enrollment page, that would be awesome. And yeah, I'm not seeing any other questions. So thank you everyone for coming today. It was really great to share the teacher certification program with you and talk about it. It's one of our favorite programs to do and to offer to people, and really hope to see you inside the program. We'll post the replay of this. I just need to let Zoom process it and then I'll get it up onto YouTube. So look out for it on YouTube. And if you have any further questions, you can always send an email into support. Just reply to any of the emails that you receive from us and those will go to support, or send it into support@holdenqigong.com. And they'll be able to answer questions or direct you to where you can get them answered. Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Jenny. And all of the, so just to reiterate, the teacher certification program includes everything that you need to get certified. So there's no additional cost that you have to pay in order to complete your certification. So the price on the checkout, when you go to checkout, is the price that includes everything. There's no additional fees or anything like that. It is lifetime access. So you have as long as you need to go through the program and complete your certification. We want to make it possible for you to Just take your own time, do it at your own pace, on demand, so to speak. And it is currently $500 off until, I believe, the end of the day, Wednesday. So you have a couple more days to decide if you want to enroll. Send a question into support if you still need questions answered, anything like that. The certification program is one of the best things that you can do to really understand how the base foundations of traditional Chinese medicine and Qigong routines are put together, and how Lee's assembling them, and how you can start doing that yourself. And this program does certify you to start teaching classes, start teaching Qigong, and accepting payment for them. So you could start teaching at a local yoga studio if you wanted to. I hope that answered any final questions. Otherwise, I'll see you in the program or see you at class later. Thanks, everybody.